On Friday afternoon, Jadyn Davis, five-star quarterback from Charlotte, is set to announce his decision, I believe, on ESPN national TV. I think almost everyone expects it'll be the University of Michigan. You wrote a column last week on the significance of a recent Michigan commitment, Jordan Marshall, the four-star running back from Ohio who committed to Michigan over an offer from Ohio State. But Ari, to me, based on what Michigan has gone through at the quarterback position in recent years, the far more significant commitment, assuming it happens, right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, one was a statement of geography. This one is like a, next step at the quarterback position get. So, it is funny because we talk about how much trouble Michigan's had with elite level players at the quarterback position. And it's
They have a five-star quarterback right
they have
now.
a 5-star quarterback who's starting for them at the moment. So I don't know if that's necessarily true.
That's why I hesitated. Sorry for the because I was going to say maybe the most impactful commitment of the Jim Harbaugh era, but then I thought to myself, wait, they've got a 5-star quarterback right now, so we can't.
Yeah, but this one is a little bit different though because this is a kid in the South with offers from everybody, and I don't remember 100%. I actually went and visited JJ McCarthy and wrote about him when he was in high school, but I don't remember like what his offers list looked like because he was a Illinois kid who went to a private school, and I don't necessarily think that his recruitment was as big as Jadyn Davis's recruitment is. And the other thing too is like in this climate, so much has changed since McCarthy committed to Michigan.
Sure.
Both circumstantially with Michigan's program, but also in the world of recruiting. So for them to be back-to-back Big Ten champions, which, by the way, is what J.J. McCarthy promised when he committed. Ooh. When I went down and wrote about him, he said, because, Ohio State played a little grab ass with him in his high school recruitment. Like, he went down to Ohio State. He was interested in Ohio State, and then they kind of slow played him a little bit, and he felt they were, like, being a little dishonest. And then he went to Michigan with the idea of being a Buckeye killer, and he's done that. He only started one of those games, but, he is the quarterback at Michigan when the rivalry is flipping to the other side. So I'm looking at J.J. McCarthy's, offers list right now just to kind of, do a little bit of memory lane. And he was the number 25 overall player in the 2021 class.
And Davis is 28, by the way.
He did have offers from LSU, Ohio State, Tennessee, and A&M, but I don't see Alabama. I don't see Georgia. And I don't know what the circumstances were when he committed or if they had other guys already in the fold in that class. But this to me is just a huge, huge situation. And the other thing too is the fact that Davis is in Charlotte, and Charlotte is such a important city for Clemson, and Clemson is, Mr. the program of quarterback and I know Clemson signed Cade Klubnik a few years ago, and
they're hot after
last year.
Yeah, and
they got
their guy.
Christopher Vazina last year. So I don't know if it's just lined up the right way, but if you go look at Jadyn Davis's offer list, I see Alabama, I see Clemson, I see Georgia, I see LSU, Notre Dame, Ohio State, Oklahoma, Oregon, Texas,
Arizona,
Oklahoma. I mean, Arizona is not on there. Okay. I mean, I'm sure he has an offer, but probably not worth noting. But just the time of it, because we're talking so much about NIL and how Michigan isn't a participant in inducements. We're talking about, taking the next step forward in the recruiting realm once you beat Ohio State and win the Big Ten. And last year's class, frankly, didn't do it. So if they're able to go in after a prolonged recruitment, I mean, Michigan's been after this kid for a year now, and land him despite the fact that he's also considering some other big-time schools. What are those other finalists? North Carolina, Tennessee, I think Penn State's in there. But, it's not – I think this would be a more impactful commitment than McCarthy's was.
Yeah, and, I don't know what his ties to North Carolina are. Obviously, he's an in-state kid. I don't know his family situation. But this is also coming. I don't think we can discount when there's a guy, Drake May, who is a former 5-star in-state quarterback who's had tremendous success with the North Carolina program and is a third-year sophomore this year and could be headed to the draft. So there could be direct playing time at North Carolina too. So I don't want to discount the Tar Heels either.
Yeah. And listen, we're in March, and I've been covering this stuff a long time to know that crazy stuff happens when a player commits in March, and maybe he'll sign with Michigan, maybe he won't. But, there's no question that there is some momentum brewing in this recruiting class that kind of just hasn't existed in the past. They'll be the second top 100 player out of the 10 commitments. And if you go look at Michigan State breakdown, they've got Ohio, 4 kids out of Ohio, 1 out of Connecticut, 1 out of Michigan, 1 out of Pennsylvania, 1 out of Tennessee, 1 out of Washington, and maybe now 1 out of North Carolina. So, they're in Ohio, but also spread out too. Like, I think that's the exact way you want to see their classes built. So, I've been harsh or, critical of Michigan in the past, but I think that things are starting to really go in the direction that we thought it would a year ago. And that's a good sign for them.
Yeah, we've speculated and people have speculated. I'm sure Michigan fans probably, know more about this than we do, but if some of the reluctance on Jadyn Davis maybe to commit earlier, they have had some upheaval offensive coordinator position there. So probably looking for some stability there. We don't know if that's factored in at all, but all signs are
Also
definitely
getting to know the new offensive coordinator too.
Yes.
Sharon Moore, and he's supposedly a star at his position, and going in here and closing this would be a huge, nice little feather in his cap as he gets going there. And the Michigan program to me has always been a program that could be a top 7, top 5 type program. I've always thought they had all the resources, the education, the tradition, the
Great
money.
town.
Ann Arbor, I think, is the best Big Ten town.
Yep.
I know Madison gets a lot of love, but I love Ann Arbor. Detroit's an underrated city. I think that, it's all in place for them to be a national championship contender. And I've said that for the last 5, 6, 7 years as I was being critical of them. And like, now that things are headed in the right direction, isn't it crazy how quickly the tune changes?
Yeah, you're like a coach who's only rough on the player because you recognize his potential.
And I almost felt like I was the only one who thought it. And it kind of annoyed me because, when you look at all the things that are factored into, big time college football programs, I don't know that there's anything that Michigan doesn't have. The number one knock on them has always been that they are more on the Notre Dame spectrum of academics first and not buying into becoming a football factory. But I've always thought that you can do both. I mean, you can be a good school that puts a premium on athletics and the studies and majors, but also be very good at football too, because, the notion that really good football players in high school are stupid is just downright wrong and dumb. I think that there's something to be built there, and it's happening right now. So really excited to see what Michigan can build, and if this is a 2-year blip or something that, might turn the rivalry for the next decade, because, we've seen in the history of this rivalry that it's gone back and forth.